What then shall we say in response to these things? If God is for us, who can be against us? Romans 8:31. Let's dive into this important scripture and find out exactly what it means. There is a weakness stitched into our skin, a frailty baked into the very marrow of our mortal bones. Not merely biological weakness, though time does eventually tame even the strongest frame. No, I speak of the deeper, more insidious kind, spiritual fragility, a trembling in the soul, a thin-walled fear that echoes in the hollows of our hearts, even when the world is silent and the night sky pretends to be at peace. Fear is the most democratic of all human experiences. It makes no distinction between banker and beggar, between the soldier and the schoolboy. It crouches beneath our rationality, whispering lies in the voice of logic. The flesh listens, the spirit groans. And somewhere between the two, we make decisions that betray the boldness we were born again to wield. We fear what we cannot control. We fear spiders and stage lights, rejection and plane rides, open water and closed spaces, the finality of death and the unpredictability of life. We fear failure. We fear success. We fear being alone. And paradoxically, we fear being fully seen. But why, when Emmanuel, God with us, walks every footstep by our side? Romans 8:31 is not rhetoric. It is a resounding battle cry from the mouth of heaven to the marrow of humanity. If God, omnipotent, omnipresent, undefeated, is for us, who in all the scattered galaxies of existence dares to stand against us? And yet, our hearts quake. Like trembling nations standing on the brink of war, we assess our strength and come up lacking. History is full of moments where smaller powers stood no chance, until an alliance turned the tide. Consider Britain in the early shadows of World War II, alone in its defiance against the Axis juggernaut. Had the United States not entered the war after the bombing of Pearl Harbor, history may have read far darker. The mere joining of forces of a mightier ally reshaped the future. Or recall the fledgling Continental Army in America's Revolutionary War. Outgunned and outnumbered, they found a crucial friend in France. Suddenly, the impossible became inevitable. Victory was not their own strength. It was the strength of another pledged to their cause. These allegiances were temporal, flawed, political, strategic, and yet they moved empires and altered history. Now imagine this. The creator of the cosmos, not bound by borders or ballots, not swayed by treaties or time, has pledged himself to your battles. Not conditionally, not transactionally, but eternally. If God is for us, Paul writes, not in question, but in declaration, who can be against us? This is no motivational mantra. This is metaphysical warfare. This is divine allegiance, sealed not with ink, but with blood. Blood that fell from a Roman cross and soaked the soil of eternity with the promise of victory. There is no enemy great enough to overthrow the throne of God. No darkness deep enough to drown the light of the Lamb. No accusation sharp enough to silence the advocate who sits at the right hand of the Father. What we face, fear, failure, anxiety, addiction, is not ignored by God. It is defeated by Him. And yet the flesh forgets. We wake each morning more attuned to the world's weight than heaven's help. We scroll our screens and drink our dread like bitter coffee, fueling ourselves on forecasted fears instead of eternal assurances. But faith, when rightly remembered, is the steel spine beneath our soft skin. It is the lion behind the lamb, the fire and the whisper. We are not abandoned. We are not alone. When we walk into boardrooms, battlefields, or broken relationships, we walk with the backing of heaven. God is not a passive bystander. He is an ever-present ally. And unlike those historical coalitions of convenience, He does not retreat when things get difficult. He draws closer. In our weakness, His power is perfected. We forget that victory is not in the volume of our prayers, but in the object of our hope. Not in our hustle, but in His holiness. We are not winners because we work harder. We are victors because we are with Him. Consider King Hezekiah in the Old Testament. The mighty Assyrian army surrounded Jerusalem. The people trembled. Yet the prophet Isaiah brought a word from the Lord. Do not be afraid. I will defend this city. And without sword or shield lifted by human hand, the enemy was scattered, not because Judah was strong, but because God was. This is the texture of Romans 8:31. It is not Pollyanna optimism, it is war poetry, a divine manifesto. And so, when fear snarls at you in the dark, whether in the form of cancer, criticism, conflict, or collapse, remember this: you are not the underdog. You are not the victim. You are not the overwhelmed. You are the allied. You are the one whom God has chosen, championed, and commissioned. You fight not for victory, but from it. The war is already won. The cross has crushed the enemy. The tomb is empty. The Spirit is within you. The kingdom cannot be conquered. If God is for you, who, seriously, who can be against you? Let the world wag its finger. Let the devil raise his accusations. Let your own mind mumble its uncertainties. But let your heart roar back the truth. You are never alone in the arena.
Smash that like button, drop a comment, and hit subscribe. Then check out Faith Mode, where premium streetwear meets gospel grit. faithmode.com